Chris Godinez, licensed professional counselor, the host of We Need to Talk on every Sunday at noon. This video, well, noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern. This video is for educational and informational purposes only. The views and opinions stated herein are mine and mine alone. They do not represent the ACA, the APA, or any other therapist for that matter. And I would like to thank my sponsor, BetterHelp.com, BetterHelp. betterhelp.com/Chris Godinez. They are an online therapy company. They get you with online therapists. They're wonderful. I've had a lot of really good feedback from people that are using them. It's super simple to use. You just go on to betterhelp.com/Chris Godinez and fill out some questions. They will put you with a qualified therapist, either PhD level or master's level, licensed in your state. And if you don't like the therapist that they put you with, you just go back in, say, hey, I don't like the therapist, and you fill out some more questions, and they'll put you with somebody else in your state that's licensed and PhD or master's level. Also, they're international. So if you're in the UK having a hard time getting to a therapist, these are the people you want to use because they can get you into an American therapist, and of course, you'll have to work out the time difference with your therapist. But yeah, so betterhelp.com/Chris Godinez. Thanks you guys so much. Okay, let's dive into the questions. All right. How do you get past the problem of seeing love as just an illusion? After my narcissist, it seemed like love was a joke or bait. Well, okay. So I think this happens to a lot of people when they come out of abusive relationships, is that you feel like love isn't real, you know, because here was this person that you adored and you thought was the love of your life, and they love bombed you and made you feel special, and then as soon as they got their hooks in you, oh boy, that went away, and they devalue and discard, and then you're left questioning everything. So love is real. It does exist. It's just not the dramatic, over-the-top, extreme love bombing that the narcissist does. So real love is calm and kind and respectful and gentle and comfortable, and you know, it's like love and respect are one and the same, and narcissists don't get that. And so they don't love or respect anybody. They're interested in an end game of how to manipulate and control. And so it often feels when we come out of that everybody's doing that. So it's really important to take time away from relationships to work on yourself, to learn to trust your gut, to learn to respect and love yourself, and then start testing the waters to see if other people are trustworthy. So, and just realize that based on the narcissistic relationship, we do have unrealistic expectations that it's going to be dramatic and passionate all the time, and, you know, based on the love bombing. But love bombing is not real. That was an illusion. That was an illusion. The person that's real is the one that comes with the claws. That's the real person. And that's the sad thing, because everybody would love to have that overly romantic, overly, you know, passionate, romance novel kind of relationship. And that's exactly what narcissists do. And they're playing on that, and they know that. And it's a societal thing. You know, if you look at all the romance novels and all the rom-coms and things like that, that's exactly what happens. So just remember, love is comfortable. Love is like a comfortable pair of slippers. And it's not something you have to fight hard to get. It's like, it's there. It's just there, and it's freely given. So with narcissists, there's always a string attached. It's never freely given. So I think getting away from the idea of, you know, that it has to be this extreme love bombing kind of thing, that is the illusion. Real love is not like that. Real love is comfortable and respectful and loving and kind and no agenda, no string attached, that kind of thing. So work on yourself, work on trusting your gut, work on what is love for you? What does love look like for you? And I've talked about this in previous videos, probably that I did years ago. Maybe I should revisit that. But it's like, what does love look like for you? And that is something to write down so you can remind yourself, along with your list of deal breakers. So I think it's good to know both. So I hope that answered the question. So it's not an illusion, but it does take time to realize what is normal and what isn't. Okay, how do narcissists view death? Ooh, this is a 3-part question. Okay, hold on. So narcissists are terrified of death. They hate it because they can't control it. They can't control it. So they don't like things that they cannot control. So yeah, narcissists, especially the somatic ones, which is the body, they're very concerned about how the body looks. They hate it because, you know, obviously old age, does a number on us all, And so they are the ones that, dye their hair even when they're 90 years old, get the facelifts, get the body work done, the whole thing. They're just terrified of aging and looking their age or getting old or whatever. Hide how old they are, don't want to tell people how old they are, and, that kind of thing. So usually it's the somatic ones that really, really hate it. But, other narcissists don't like it either because they can't control it. And it's terrifying to them. And think about it too. If you have a good relationship with your higher power, whatever that higher power is, God, Jesus, Buddha, Bufa Baba, whatever, if you've got a good relationship, you're not afraid of death. You're not. But if you don't have a good relationship with your higher power and you have treated people like crap, you might want to be afraid. You know what I'm saying? And they're terrified. They're terrified because I suspect they know that on some level what they've done. Okay, and this is the third part of the question. If someone else dies, do they view it as a way to get attention? Do they know how to support people who are grieving, or is it just grand drama for them? It's grand drama. It's grand drama. I can't tell you the number of times that I've gone to funerals and there's been a disordered person in that family and they are just chief mourner, wailing, throwing themselves on the casket. I mean, just all sorts of just over the top. Again, like I was saying with the love bombing, it's like nothing is done in moderation with narcissists. It's always to the extreme, always. So, grand drama, look at me, I'm the chief mourner, blah, 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 that kind of thing. And no, they don't know how to support other people. They really, truly do not. So, if they're narcissists and they hate death, they won't know how to comfort because they don't feel the way we do. A healthy, normal, empathic person is able to go, oh, this is so sad. We've lost this person. And, how can I help you? This is hard. What do you need right now? Oh, you just need a hug? Okay. Narcissists can't do that. They're not about to put themselves out to comfort another person, really. Really. Unless there's the spotlight on them and then they're like, oh, you poor thing. And they're, doing that fake kind of comforting. I don't even know how to describe it. But yeah, they generally tend to view anything where there is an audience as grand drama. So weddings and funerals. I tell people this all the time. Weddings and funerals will let you know who your true family and friends are. Because people misbehave at weddings and funerals like nobody's business because they're acting out their own familial stuff, or they are, jealous, or they're, whatever. So weddings and funerals really do let you know who is sane and who is cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. So yeah, so in answer to the question, yes, they're terrified of death, especially somatic narcissists, especially if they're aging and they don't want to age and they want to hide their age, that kind of thing. Covert narcissists are the ones that tend to do the drama queen, victim, look at me, look at me, look at me kind of thing. But yeah, most narcissists don't handle death well, and they don't know how to support somebody who's grieving at all because it's not okay. Tears are not allowed. Don't you dare cry. I'll give you something to cry about. Even when it's a family member that was beloved that died, So yeah, they don't know how to handle emotions. So no, they're not good at comforting people. Do abusers intentionally harm their target with food? For example, give sugar to a diabetic. Yes, absolutely. I've said it before, I shall say it again. They want us dead. They want anyone who sees them dead. They want anyone who loves them dead. They want their targets dead. That's the ultimate power and control. That is the ultimate power and control. That's what they're all about. They do use food to harm. They do use food to, if somebody's a diabetic, they'll push alcohol, they'll push sweets, they'll push, carbs, that kind of thing. If somebody is allergic to gluten, they'll push the gluten and claim they didn't know. Baloney. If somebody is overweight and trying to get into shape, they'll start pushing the fatty foods at them and the, carb-laden foods and the whole thing. It's really a sick thing that abusers do. And then they'll sit there and berate you for, being overweight or having diabetes or, whatever. So yes, food is absolutely used as a way to harm. It is absolutely used as a way to manipulate. It is absolutely used as a way to control. You betcha. I did a whole thing on that probably a year or two ago. So maybe we should revisit that at some point. But yeah, food is used as a weapon. Absolutely. And they withhold food. too from their targets of abuse. They starve them. So yeah, or they make them eat food they don't like. I mean, they're sadistic. They're sadistic. So yeah, absolutely. What is a person who plays the victim all the time? That is a covert narcissist. So covert narcissists get their narcissistic supply. Let's go over this. So there's overt. So the overt ones are the ones who are, look at me, look at me, look at me. Tell me how fabulous I am. I'm great. I'm the greatest. I'm the greatest at this. I'm the greatest at that. They're always blowing on their own horn, right? So covert narcissists are the ones who play the victim. Pay attention to me because everything wrong is in my life. Why does this always happen to me? I'm always a victim. You're never right. You're never cool. That kind of thing. It's like they're always the victim. Always. Like, always. So that's a covert narcissist. Overt, covert. Communal is like the religious nuts, Jim Jones, cult leaders, Nexium, that kind of thing. Somatic narcissists are the ones that are concerned with the body appearance. Every hair has to be in place. Everything has to be perfect. They get tons of plastic surgery, etc., etc., etc. So yeah, those are the ones, the covert ones are the ones that play victim all the time. And there is a payoff. You always ask yourself, what is the payoff for this person doing this? Well, they get attention. It's a way to get attention. And narcissists are attention sluts, I think is a good way to put it. So yeah. Okay. Is sleep deprivation intentional? Oh, Lord, yes. So narcissists use sleep deprivation for two reasons. One, they are sadistic and they enjoy inflicting pain and they enjoy watching somebody not be able to function because they're not getting enough sleep. So in prisoner of war camps, that's what they do. They keep the prisoners not sleeping so that they're more easily manipulated or malleable. I'm going to sneeze. Oh my goodness. Ugh. Allergies like nobody's business. Oh my God. I don't know what's blooming, but it needs to stop. So anyway, so they keep people up because it makes them easier to manipulate. Because when you're exhausted, you can't think straight. Like literally, you cannot think straight. So great example. John and I just, cleared out our entire house so we can get the walls painted and the floors put in, right? And so we were go, exhausted. And by the end of the night, John looked at me and he's like, I brain done. And it's like, yeah, brain is done. We're cooked. We're exhausted. We can't think anymore, So yeah, sleep deprivation is 100% intentional. And they do it because they enjoy watching somebody suffer, and it gives them a sense of power. Ha, 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 I kept you from sleeping. Ha, 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 look how powerful I am. That kind of thing. They're just reprehensible, miserable people. I'd say human beings, but that's too good of a designation for them. Is neglect a form of abuse? Absolutely. Absolutely. Humans need physical touch, love, connection, the whole thing. We cannot live without it, and if we do, we end up becoming very, very mentally ill. So, yes, neglect is absolutely a form of abuse because the abuser is basically saying you're not worth my time of day to even feed or love or take care of or change your diapers or whatever. So, yeah, neglect is absolutely a form of abuse. Absolutely. This is the thing that people don't understand. In speaking about domestic violence, everybody thinks about, the black eye, right, or the broken bones. And the worst, and it's all bad. It's, the worst thing that I hear is that people are like, oh, well, at least they didn't hit you. And I'm just like, you have no idea how much in my head my dad was hitting me with words for years until I got this handled, until I evicted him. So broken bones and black eyes are terrible. The verbal stuff is just as bad. And being completely ignored, that's just as bad too. That is a form of abuse. You absolutely bet. So, this is why it's really important to get with a good trauma therapist to work through all of this and put it back to the abuser. If you were neglected, it's not you, it's them. Healthy, normal parents love their babies, love their kids, want to be with them, want to mold them, want to help them, want to, encourage them to grow up and do their own thing. They want to be with them. Unhealthy, disordered parents are the ones who are like, go away, kid, you bother me. I'm not going to, you know, that kind of thing. So, yeah, neglect is absolutely a form of abuse. If a person is nice to the wait staff but is cruel to animals, is that a red flag? Oh, God, yes. Oh, God, yes. So remember, not all narcissists, okay, how do I explain this? All narcissists behave the same, but they behave the same in different ways. I know, that just, whoa, what are you saying, Chris? So all narcissists abuse and are cruel, but they're selective as to who or what they are cruel to. So if they're nice to the waitstaff, it's because people are watching them, right? There's somebody around watching them. If they're cruel to animals, who's watching them? So how people behave away from the spotlight, super important. That is super important. You know, how are they behaving when there is nobody around, you know, kind of thing. So, and if they're cruel to somebody, animals that are helpless and cannot do anything for them, you know, and or people that are helpless and cannot do anything for them, that speaks volumes. You know, you want to be as kind to the homeless person on the street asking for a cigarette as you are to, I don't know, the Pope. You know, it's like, why should you treat anybody any differently? You know, it just, that drives me crazy, because narcissists do, and it's based on what that person can do for them. So that's why, you know, with the wait staff, they may be okay with the wait staff because they're being waited on and people are watching and they don't want to, you know, look bad. But if they're being cruel to animals and there's nobody around, oh, that's a huge red flag. Animals are like, they're like children, you know, to me. I mean, honestly, it's like my dog, Scotty, is like our kid, you know, and I cannot imagine not treating Scotty with respect, because, again, love and respect are the same thing. So if they're showing that level of disrespect to that little animal that cannot defend itself, they're showing you who they are. And more than likely, they're a dark triad. So remember, serial killers start with animals, small animals, and they start working their way up the food chain. So yeah, it's a power trip for them. You know, I can kick this dog or I can kick this cat and look how powerful I am. And all I think in my head is, no, look what an ass wipe you are. Sorry. But yeah. So, that's a huge red flag. Be very careful of anybody who treats animals poorly. What is learned helplessness? Learned helplessness is somebody who plays the victim all the time. So learned helplessness is, oh God, I always hated this. Back in the day, there used to be these stupid romantic movies, probably 1940s, where the girl would go to the hero and she was like, I can't think anymore. You have to think for both of us. And I'm sitting here going, you know. So that's learned helplessness, rather than standing up and going, okay, here's the haps. This is what we're doing. Hello, moving forward, you know. So learned helplessness is playing the victim. It's, I don't know how to do this. You'll have to do this for me. You know, that kind of thing. My mom used to do that. My mom would be this incredible, amazing older woman. You know, she slept with shotguns underneath her bed, you know, when she lived out on the ranch. And she knew how to work the internet. She was an internet queen. She knew how her way around Facebook and emails and all of this stuff. But the second a family member came around, oh, I don't know how to do this. Can you do this for me? I mean, it was without fail. She did that. And it was an attention ploy. It was an attention ploy. So learned helplessness is, again, what's the payoff? Attention. So, yeah. So learned helplessness is that I can't do it, you need to do it for me, and, you know, paying attention to them. So, yeah, learned helplessness is a flea that can be picked up from covert narcissists, absolutely. And her mother was absolutely, my grandmother was absolutely a narcissist. So, yeah. So that's where it comes from. All right. Do abusers do things on purpose? Yes. Like, I told my husband I didn't like him banging doors when he comes in at night, but he continued to do it. Well, yeah, because sleep deprivation is their thing. Waking people up is their thing. Oh, did I wake you? Oh, I'm so sorry. But you could just see that smirk, you know, like that recognition smirk, like, oh, did I wake you? Yeah, that thing. Do you see where I'm going with that? So, yeah, if you tell somebody once, hey, I don't like this, please don't do it again. And they acknowledge it and go, okay, I heard you say that you don't like this. I won't do it again. And then they do it again. Houston, you got a problem because they're doing it on purpose. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Everything that abusers do is done on purpose. There is never a oops, well, there's an oops as in a oops, accidentally on purpose. Woo, there we go. There's that. But there's never, it's always thought out. It's always thought out. They always know what they're doing. Everything is with an agenda. Everything is with a string attached. Everything is with an end game, basically. So yeah. Okay. All right. Can you talk more about gray rock? Okay. So gray rock is where you just don't give them any reaction at all. And if you're a therapist, that really does come in handy because sometimes, and I talk about this in the new book that I'm just about to release, so I got to get the audio stuff done. Sometimes clients say outrageous things, especially when I was working with the homeless population, severely mentally ill, etc. Sometimes they say and do outrageous things because they're looking for your reaction. If you don't give them one, then they stop the bad behavior because they're not getting a payoff. So gray rock is no emotion. Uh-huh. 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 Mm. Look at the time. Wow, gotta go. No emotion, no attachment, okay? And narcissists often do things in order, that little gotcha, that little poke in the bear kind of thing, do things to get a reaction. They do things to get you to get angry or to get sad or to scream or to yell or to whatever, so that you'll have reactive abuse, so that you'll look like the crazy one. So gray rock is just no emotion. Now, narcissists hate that. They do. And sometimes they will escalate in an attempt to get you to respond. Walk away. You are not under any obligation to attend every argument you're invited to. You just don't have to. Walk away. Walk away. And don't give them what they want. Because if you go down that same road of yelling and screaming and whatever, it's the same trap that you guys have been going down forever. They're never going to change, but you need to change. And gray rock is a good way to start seeing how crazy they are, And I've heard some people go, oh, gray rock is dangerous and blah, blah, the narcissists hate it and blah, blah, blah. Well, yeah, they do hate it because you're not giving them what they want. But gray rock also gives you an opportunity to start thinking instead of responding immediately. Because what narcissists like to do is they want to wind you up so that you just start telling them everything. How many times have you had an argument with a narcissist, with an abuser, and you end up telling them, I'm leaving you? Oh, I'm leaving you. I've got this plan. Oh, well, your plan has just now been torpedoed because they're going to make sure you can't leave. So gray rock gives you the opportunity to think before you respond. And every response must be minimal. Do not overshare. Do not overshare. Let me say that again. Do not overshare. They want to get you wound up so that you'll spill the beans and tell them what you're up to. So that's why gray rock is great, because you're not giving any emotion, you're not feeding into their feeding frenzy, and you're buying yourself time to think about, what do I say? So there is that. How are we doing on time? Okay, I think maybe one or two more questions. How can I draw boundaries with my toxic family? Well, here's the thing. If they are toxic, they will not respect your boundaries. So what the question really should be is, if you were not related to these people, would you have anything to do with them? If the answer is no, act accordingly. Go no contact. Get away from them. Have nothing to do with them. So you can draw boundaries, but if they're truly toxic, they're not going to respect them. And in fact, some toxic family members see a boundary as a challenge, and so they will intentionally cross that boundary because that's who they are. So yeah, if you were not related to these people, would you have anything to do with them? If the answer is no, act accordingly. Okay, hold on. Let me get back over here. I think this will be our last question. Why do we have such an issue with being perfect? Okay. Because narcissists demand that everybody around them is perfect because it's a reflection on them. If we are imperfect, then it's a reflection on them, and they take it personally. As opposed to, we're human, we're going to make mistakes, right? Nobody's perfect. Last perfect person, got nailed to a tree. So, we don't walk on water unless it's frozen. But narcissists can't handle that, and it makes them angry that we are reflecting on them how fabulous they are. That's what they see it as. So then we get this perfectionism thing, and especially if we had addiction, alcohol, parents that were addicted or alcoholics, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, they demand that their kids be perfect because they're the least perfect people walking the face of the planet, much like narcissists. And again, it makes them angry if not everybody around them is happy and perfect. So we then get stuck with this, I have to be perfect, I have to be perfect, I have to be perfect. So that's the inner child. So you're going to want to start working on the Inner Child Workbook, Catherine Taylor. You're going to want to get with a good trauma therapist, and you're going to want to work on that perfectionism. Oh, excuse me, belch. You're going to want to work on that perfectionism because nobody's perfect and we all make mistakes and stuff is going to happen. And the reason we get stuck with it is because we've been told either overtly or covertly, we must be perfect, we must be perfect, we must be perfect. You got to let that go. Good enough. You got to work with good enough. It's okay to be good enough. It's okay. So, all right, I'm going to call it good for now. You guys have a great week. And I think this week we're going to be talking about misdiagnosis. We're going to be talking about the insane level of PTSD out in the world today with all the stuff that's going on, and that people don't even realize it. So I want to talk about borderline personality disorder, narcissistic personality disorder, and PTSD, and why we're seeing so many weird behaviors, especially on the freeways. Hello. So we're going to talk about all that. So there that is. You guys have a great week. Be good to yourselves. I want to thank BetterHelp, BetterHelp, BetterHelp.com/Chris Godinez. All right, you guys, I will talk to you on Sunday. Bye.